Hi everyone, it's Steve with Aptera Owners Club. This weekend, Aptera hosted the EVA annual meeting, and several of our club members were able to go, and many of them provided footage. Most of this footage is courtesy of Milson. Thank you very much, Milson. And this video will be the keynote address by Chris Anthony. There will be another video with the Q&A session, so stay tuned for that.
Vehicle Association, and it's great to have everybody here to celebrate not just the successes of EVs over the last 10 years, but also some of our progress as we push towards production. I was going to give you a little intro to Aptera. I'm sure there's probably a lot of questions, so we'll save most of the time for questions, but we also have some hand around so you can kind of get a feel for the work we're doing here. For those of you that don't know, probably most of you have at least heard of Aptera. Maybe you don't know what we're all about. But Aptera exists to provide the world the most efficient transportation. We started with really the math equation of where does energy go in people's day-to-day transportation. And we found that over 60% of your fuel at highway speeds can go to just pushing air out of the way of a typical SUV or sedan. So if you can really optimize your vehicle for aerodynamics, you're going to get much better fuel economy. The second biggest loss is weight. It takes energy to deform your tire in every rotation. So if you can have a lightweight vehicle, even better. And the last is really the efficiency of your powertrain. So combustion engines, as we all know, are garbage when it comes to converting energy into power to your wheels. You only get like 25% of the energy out of the gasoline you burn to your wheels. So it's a shame to go through all that effort to dig up dinosaur bones and compressed biomatter that could be so useful in plastics and other areas, and just burn it in combustion engines and let it go off into the sky and never to be retrieved again. Electric motors, obviously much more efficient. We take that to the next realm. Typical EVs get maybe 80% of their power from the wall to the wheels. We get closer to 90%. So you put all that together and you get something that looks more like a fish than a box truck, and something that gets extreme efficiency. And because everybody here knows the vernacular, we use less than 100 watt hours per mile. So, it's when compared to a Hummer EV, we're burning a sixth of the energy per mile. And when it's compared to some of you eco-milers out here, it's a third to half of what you guys are using on the best day out in the world. We wanted to show you a little bit about how the vehicle is coming together from an architecture perspective, an engineering perspective. We've been doing a lot of this work in Italy. It's our carbon fiber SMC chassis, how the parts come together. An interesting thing is we only use 6 major parts for a body structure. So there's a tub, there's a top, there's 2 sides, and some liner pieces, and that's the whole body structure for this vehicle. When we last tested this vehicle through FMVSS crash test, we had the highest roof crush strength of any passenger car on the road, and it's only gotten better with our work in Italy. So it's a fabulous piece of engineering to see all these things come together, and this, what you see on the screen, will arrive here in just a couple months, so we can finish up our first production intent builds and be able to drive people around in what is a fabulous new entry into the Electric Vehicle Association. This is the actual shop in Italy, an amazing place where some of the world's most premier supercars are made. I don't want to rattle off the names, but if you've seen something pretty in a magazine that goes fast, it probably went, at least part of it, through one of CPC's shops in Italy. The carbon fiber SMC that we use is a very interesting material. It's stamp pressed. Imagine like a waffle iron that you put in a glob of thermoset resin and carbon fiber into, and then you close the waffle iron, and you wait 8 minutes, and when you open the waffle iron, you've got a beautiful Aptera part. That's essentially how these parts are made. But they're carbon fiber, they're super strong, and this material is used in a lot of pretty amazing supercars, so it's really cool to see our vehicle going for that. This is what it looks like. And we'll hand it around so everybody can touch and feel and see what carbon fiber SMC goodness is. But an important thing to note in that particular piece is with this process, we get a part that's really akin to an injection molded part. So you can have embedded fasteners. You don't have to like glue on a stud or glue on a nut. It's just made in the part. Also has a lot of features. So you can have little landing features, like this is where the HVAC sits, the air handler box. that blows the AC on you. You can have little landing feet, you can have locating features. You can even have like scribe lines for bonding when you need to bond two pieces together. You can make it into parts. So just a really amazing process. And before this, we had a very hand-laid process. So people would have to hand-lay composite material in a mold, and it took a long time. And I had a boat company. We built a lot of boats, but it took a lot of space and a lot of people. So, you know, we have over 46,000 orders for the Aptera now. So we need to build them in mass. People haven't even seen a production vehicle yet, so we're sure that our orders will take off once we have a production vehicle. So we couldn't do something that's going to take hundreds and hundreds and thousands of square feet. We can make up to 100,000 Aptera a year in about 30,000 square feet of space over in Italy. So it's really space constrained, and that's with 6 operators. So 6 people managing a whole plant, making body structures for 100,000 vehicles a year. So it's much different than my boat plant where we had hundreds of people and hundreds of thousands of square feet. These are some of the beautiful parts the guys we're putting together. This was over a month ago. We've come a long way since then, and we've actually finished almost all of the tooling for the vehicle there now. I also recently got back from a trip to Korea. I had some pretty amazing food, and they like to torture the white guy with whiskey and beer. So I definitely had some adventurous nights out. But we just signed a battery arrangement with a company called CTNS there, and they will be building the robotics line to have a fully automated battery pack line in Korea, where we'll build our first couple hundred battery packs, and then we'll ship all that equipment here to the US, and then we'll be building battery packs right here in Carlsbad, California. That's the same game we're playing with CPC. We want to build the body parts in Italy to start, and then we want to bring that equipment over to the US so we can have jobs here in the US to build those things, and so we can have the parts located closer so we don't get caught in a long supply chain way overseas. CTNS built some of our first battery modules. This is an example of one of the battery modules flipped upside down. This is right side up. Our battery modules are cooled by base plate cooling. We use 2170 cells, which we'll pass around too. These are the cells. If you drove a Tesla Model Y or a Model 3 here, likely it has a 2170 NMC cell in here. It's a lot like a AA battery, only fatter. But that's what we populate our modules with, and it takes 6 of these modules to make one Aptera battery pack.
How many cells are in a module?
Good question. There's 2,900 in the whole pack. The math is above me to divide it by 6, but 500 cells or so. Okay. But if you haven't ever held a cell that's in your Tesla, this is what they are. In your Tesla, they have like 3 times as many cells as we do, but about 9,000, 10,000 cells in a Tesla pack.
The 600
Nickel metal cobalt. So this in particular is an NMC 811 chemistry. It's a high nickel content chemistry that gives you really good energy density.
And then the 600 and the 1,000
use taller cells. Yeah.
Same width.
So a great thing, we've been working with Sandy Monroe and Monroe and Associates to really optimize our pack and all of our manufacturing. But they advised us, don't design 4 distinct packs for your 250 mile, 400 mile, 600 mile, 1,000 mile. Design one pack, and then if you can use a different size cell for those packs, it makes everything much easier. So we use a 70 millimeter tall cell here for the 400 mile range version. We just take some of the cells out for the 250 mile range version. And for the 600 and 1,000 mile range version, we use taller cells. So the cells that are going around are 70 millimeters tall. We go to a 90 millimeter tall and then 120 millimeter tall cell. And that means we can use all the same cell brackets. We can use the same power busing. We can use the same PDU. We can use the same case structure. Everything gets harmonized and gets much, much easier to build in volume. You'll see over here an old current collector, but this is our new strategy. It's actually laser welded to the battery cells, and the laser is super, super quick. The problem with some of the early Tesla packs is they were wire bonded, and it takes a machine time to drop a wire, lift it, make a loop, drop the wire again, and weld it on. So this laser stuff is just, it's super, super quick. So you can bond this whole module in less than a minute, whereas it used to take 6.
How many volts does it run at?
Each module is 50 to 60 volts. The whole pack is 402 charge voltage, 350 nominal. A little description on kind of how we're evolving here. In Italy, we're building our body structure. We're building the frame that's under the body structure that holds our suspension. The Aptera is really built from the battery out. So the battery is the heaviest part of the vehicle. We use a structural battery that then holds the front and rear suspension, and then we put our pretty beautiful carbon fiber body structure on top of that. That work for the frame and the body will happen in Italy to start, and they will ship those over to us probably as full rollers, with wheels. So once it gets here, we'll be able to put the battery pack in, the solar on, install some of our point of use controllers, which is our digital I/O system around the vehicle, and obviously our control systems, software, center screen and stuff. In Korea is where we'll build our initial battery packs, and those will be shipped here. But eventually those battery packs will be the key here. The battery packs will come off the line. It's the heaviest unit. Then that is really the first station of our assembly. So station 1 is battery pack. Battery pack goes in frame. Station 2, body goes on the vehicle after that, and then you just build up the rest of the vehicle. There's a great simulation on this screen behind me here, right in front of that big black box, which is a solar testing box. But that is a simulation of our manufacturing execution system. So it's digital software by Interratio that helps us manage the inventory coming out of the back where the shelves are way back there onto the line. We have to do interesting things like track the serial number of every tire we put on an Aptera. We have to keep that for life in case of warranty concerns. We keep track of the torque of every bolt that's gone into an Aptera, and obviously serialize every part that went into an Aptera. So once we have tens of thousands of vehicles out there, if there's a problem with a subset of vehicles, we have the data to know, oh, the vendor shipped us the wrong part, or oh, the vendor had a quality issue, and we only have to recall 100 vehicles instead of recalling all 10,000 vehicles, which is nice. So that's a pretty cool simulation, and it's good to see how the factory will actually operate if you get a chance to peek over there and see that.
Are the Alafi wheels headed in Italy?
The Alafi wheels are in Slovenia, which is pretty close to Italy, so it's only a 4-hour drive, so they can put them on a lorry, what they call trucks over there, and drive it over to Italy, where this vehicle can be produced. I wanted to leave a good amount of time for questions, but I also wanted to give you a little tour of the shop from your seats. A big group is hard to manage on tours. But this is an 80,000 square foot facility. It's capable of building about 20,000 vehicles a year. The current line that you'll see animated on that show over there is a 12 station assembly. And this blue line that you see running under the seats and then around the building, that's the actual vehicle assembly line. So there's 12 stations. The takt time is 12 minutes each. We can produce about 40 Aptera a day per shift on those lines.
8-hour shifts.
8-hour shifts, yes, sir. So if we were to bump that to 2 shifts, we can get about 20,000 vehicles out the door per year out of here. How we have the shop organized is up there behind the green wall. That's where all the mechanical engineers are. That's where body structures, aero, suspension, chassis, all those guys. And then we leave the electrical engineers downstairs because it's more gloomy and they can have the lights low. For whatever reason, the electrical engineers always like it dark because they're always looking at schematics and stuff. But electrical engineers down here, high voltage, low voltage, control system, solar charge controller, all that down here. Over here we have marketing and our amazing community success team with Audra and Chris who are here helping with this. Our amazing marketing team has done a great job building our community, and so blessed to have them. This over here is accounting and finance and all that stuff. On the shop floor, on this side over here, you'll see most of our solar assembly. So we have the equipment to produce about 10 panels a day right now. You'll be able to kind of see the different forming equipment and then the different test equipment further down. We test for temperature, we test for breakage. We have a big steel ball we drop on stuff. We have an ice gun that shoots ice at 90 miles an hour, so got to pass an ice test. All that fun stuff. We're really proud of our solar, and I'll pass these around as some show and tell. But these are some coupons of our solar testing here. But this came off of the forming equipment here, and this is what produces this amazing glass solar panel. And you wouldn't think, that this is glass, but it is. And it's a lot like the glass on your cell phone. It's super, super tough, super scratch resistant, but surprisingly flexible. That means it's also very lightweight, but you can hold it up by just one hand, one finger, if I could balance more properly like a basketball star. But we've made amazing progress on this, and obviously one of the biggest benefits of having the most efficient vehicle platform ever is that you can add very little solar to it and still get very useful charge range out of it. So we add 192 solar cells onto the body surface of our vehicle. That gets you about 700 watts of charging power in optimal sun. And in Southern California, you can get over 40 miles a day of free power just from the amazing nuclear generator in the sky that we have here. That's completely free. And in total, in California, Southern California, you can get about 11,000 miles a year of free driving. No need to plug it in, no need to pay your power bill. All you have to do is trust that the sun is going to come up every day and provide you with that power. In more dreary places like Seattle, New York, Boston, you still get like 8,500 miles a year of free driving. So in a world today where I see many articles of people spending over $5,000 a year on gasoline, this thing is a pretty sweet deal at $26,000 to not have a fuel bill ever again. It's also a really cool adventure vehicle. This is the first vehicle that you can take on an adventure, and it actually creates its own fuel when you're out adventuring. Imagine taking a camping trip, driving 200 miles away, camping for a week, and coming back with more power than you had in your Aptera than you left with.
Where do you put the tent?
The tent, the back actually pops up here, and there's a tent that goes over the side. Actually, I think the first picture of the presentation was the tent. Or was that your screensaver?
Yeah, it was. We just go to the desktop to find it. Actually, wait, no, is it? Maybe not.
You like me? 50,000 thing.
Top secret.
Close.
That's the wind tunnel.
Oh, this is the wind tunnel. Anyways, there's pictures online of the camping kit, and it's really the rear hatch pops open, but you can fit almost a full-size bed in the back of the Aptera to go adventuring. So, on the other side of the solar line will be our battery equipment, and you see in the back area there, that's really our R&D test driving. That's how we're validating the vehicles out there. But that's kind of a general tour of the space and a general intro of Aptera. But we're so pleased to have everyone here, and in a world that now has the Tesla Model Y as the best-selling vehicle in the world. There's no better time to be in the Electric Vehicle Association, and there's no better time to be in this great space we call, clean tech, green tech, clean vehicles. So, we're happy to press the limits and go above and beyond where Tesla and other electric vehicles are going. But it's a unique story, and I'm happy to answer any of your individual questions as I'm around. But maybe we'll open it up, and you guys can ask any questions about the facility or the company or whatever you want for maybe 10 minutes. I don't know how far can we go over the schedule.